I think we're good to go. You guys good? You hear me? Good?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good.
Awesome. Well, we'll just get into it. Here we go. Gary, welcome back. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you having me back.
CJ, thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate you guys bringing me on.
Yeah. Second time I'm sitting across from two IFBB pros, yeah? Is that you just recently got your card recently, right? Are you working on it?
He got his before me.
You've had yours for a long time.
I've had mine since 2016.
Okay.
The first year me and him actually started working together, I actually got mine under him. So actually that year we did actually 3 shows together in that year.
In 1 year?
In 1 year. That year we prepped for the Arnold. The Arnold did not go so hot. And it happened. We had a game plan. We had a great plan, and I looked it great. An hour before we were about to go on stage, they came into the room and was like, "Hey, we're doing quarter turns for this show because it's an international show." We had never practiced quarter turns. We only worked on my front pose and my back pose. So
what men's physique is it's currently or at least in the U.S. it's front, back, front.
Okay.
So quarter turns means you start out at the front, you turn quarter,
right?
Then you turn to the rear, then you turn the other quarter, then you turn to the front. Well, you have to hit poses from those quarters,
right? Naturally,
and we never did. Nobody did. Right. So it was a shock for everybody.
Well, I mean, did they do that on purpose, or was it just like
it was an international show? The international kids knew. They were like, "Oh, no problem.
Yeah,
cool.
So
we've been doing this."
It just threw us off. So in that hour before we get on stage, he's in the back, like, all right, trying to teach me a routine real quick. And I ain't even gonna lie, when I got up there on stage, they said turn to the right, and I was like a deer in the headlights. I forgot my right from my left, and I was still in my front pose, and I finally turned, and it was like real awkward, and then it just was all bad, and so I didn't make it into the. I think they take the top 10 into the final of the night, and I didn't make it into the top 10. So we kind of like scrapped it and was just like, all right, and moved on. We knew the goal was to do North Americans at the end of the year, and so after being disappointed with how the Arnold turned out, we jumped into the Mike Francois show down in Columbus. We went down there, kind of like we did a different plan and try to, figure some things out.
Was that the year we competed at this?
Yeah, we both did it. Yeah, we both did it together because, you like to surprise me and say, oh, I'm doing this show.
Get some push in there.
By the way.
Yeah.
And so then I ended up winning that one, so it kind of gave me a little confidence boosters before going into North Americans, and so we got ready for that one, which was crazy because I had I'm a track coach in the summer too, so I was down in Texas for 12 days because my sons compete. So I was in Texas for 12 days and trying to prep. And I'm texting him, and he's sending me emails telling me like stuff that I can get to kind of like have in the hotel and try my best to still. And I'm in the hotel working out and doing everything because this is like the first week, end of July, first week of August, and the show is at the end of August. So like I'm in
that's prep time.
Yeah, I'm like in the depth of prep,
you're in
like
the final weeks.
Yeah, really pushing, and so. But he had such a great plan. So by the time I got back home from Texas, we just hit the ground running those last 3 weeks before the show. And he had enough confidence, and he was just telling me like, you're gonna do it. You're gonna this is the best you ever looked. And so I'll never forget. I can hear him. He surprised me again. He jumped into North Americans and it was like, oh yeah, I'm competing too. I was like, what? And so, but I'm in A class. He's in B class at that show, and he's literally behind the stage, and I can hear him yelling like, "Hold it right there! Hold it! Hold it!"
So if you can
forever coaching.
If you can imagine it, it was not about me at that point. Yeah. So if you can imagine, I'm hyped up back there. I'm hyped up. I got yelled at. So if you can imagine, like, there's a stage. We're on the stage right now, and behind that stage is a big black curtain, just like this, and the curtain has splits in it. So when I'm back there.
Like at least a show through the fence?
Yeah, basically. But remember, the cameraman's there. So they want this black background.
Oh, yeah.
So if you open that up, it throws everything off. So I'm back there like this. Yeah, you got it. Hold it. I get yelled at back there like, you got to close the curtain. You're messing up the shots. So, but if he's in the center, he's winning or at least doing well.
Right.
So
yeah. So I just remember him just kind of like being back there, like just still. And this is like prior to him, I had, you know what I'm saying. I'll tell you how we met too, because prior to him, I had did 2 national shows and was in 4th.
That's technically our 3rd time competing at the same show.
Yeah, so I had did 2 national shows, and I did junior nationals in Chicago twice, and got completely blown out the water. Never made I always was in the final call outs for both of those. So when I got first call out in North Americans, and I was like damn near in the center, and it was just like I knew at that point in time that he was the best fit for me as far as a coach, and we like I said, we did that all in with 1 year, and each time he learned something different about me to make me better, and as far as how can he what poses can I do, how can I eat, what's gonna make me get to the next level. And so when I didn't even care. When they said I was second and I knew I had earned my card, I was like, granted I wanted to try to go for the battle for the overall and stuff like that, but at that point I was just like, man, this has been a long road, a long 3-year road to finally get it.
And the guy that beat him was legit. I mean,
Yeah.
he's still doing pretty well.
He's gonna qualify for Olympia.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're going to get beat by somebody, I mean, you might as well get beat by an
one of the
Olympian
top guys in
qualifier.
the world,
yeah.
That's for sure. Well, that's got to be rough too. 3 shows in a year, because they don't. I mean, you guys typically do that many shows in a year, because that's feel like that's just preparation year round.
Well, you try to keep them relatively close. So when I say relatively close, no more than 3-4 weeks apart. So it's hard mentally. I was just talking to one of my clients on the way here, and she's setting up to do the Lieberman show. She's like, I kind of want to do North Coast, but that's a good 6 to 8 weeks away. It's hard to mentally reset. I don't care if you win. If you win it's a little bit easier. But if you lose and you got another 2 months of prep, it's hard to mentally do it. So
It's going to be hard to hold on to.
right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you've dieted for so long, to do one show and be done, you're kind of doing yourself an injustice.
I got you. That makes sense. So I heard, especially a lot with everything happening last year and still going on this year. One of our friends that she just started competing a year or 2 ago, but she was planning on doing a show. She's planning on doing the Arnold this year.
Yeah.
Well, then it got pushed back or canceled.
Yeah.
And now, so then there's there's one in Kentucky 4 weeks after that, but it's like you were talking about before. Now, all right, now you got to push it out. Your deadline 4 weeks back and.
It gets that gets like you said, it's mentally taxing after a while when you trying to prepare for a show. And I'm saying after the Arnold, I couldn't say that year I was defeated as mentally damn I really wanted to do good. And then but he helped me bounce back and was like, all right, let's do either we were going to do the Kent show. I forgot the name.
North Coast.
North Coast. We're gonna do North Coast, or we decided to do the Mike one because it just time wise and track meet wise, it lined up with my schedule better. So he basically it was like, let's do this show to kind of it was to reset yourself, get you back mentally ready to go into North Americans, and actually that worked out. So, but like I was saying, me and him have we crossed paths and didn't know we crossed paths. The very first time I competed was in...
Well, he didn't know we crossed paths.
Yeah,
he's pretty easy to spot on the stage. Yeah. 1 is physique, and 2, what he got going on with his body. So you remember things like that. Right.
So we were... my very first year ever competing was 2014, and I did the Dave Lieberman show. And I ended up... that was my very first show ever. And I think this is why I got... a little ahead of myself because I ended up winning my first show and won my class.
Sometimes that's a bad place to start off at.
Yeah. So, and I had did everything myself. I had no coach. I had no understanding of the sport really. I watched YouTube videos on how.
That's all you need these days, right?
How to
Just
pose
YouTube videos.
and like I'm reading like I'm on bodybuilding.com figuring out how to pull water. Like I have no idea what I'm doing really, but somehow, some way, I ended up pulling off a win, and then I ended up going for the overall. And in the overall, he's in the overall with
and another one
of his clients. Yeah. So I had no idea because Gary changes his hair like every other week. So but it's funny because the next year, that year I went to Chicago. Way ahead of myself, real cocky, like, yeah, I want a show. I'm about to go become a pro, and got my ass blown out in Chicago. And so then I was like, all right, do I really want to keep doing this? And so then I was like, all right, I'm going to do this again next year. And so I did it again next year. And he actually hit me up in 2015. We happened to just be following each other on Instagram and stuff like that. And he sent me a message and was like, hey, you got a lot of potential. I can help you with X, Y, and Z. If you learn how to pose, do this and this and this. And I met with him. He showed me some stuff. And I was like, you know what? I got this. I got this. I don't need it.
I just needed a couple tips. I'm good to go.
I was like, I don't need it. I was like, I got this. I do another Lieberman show. This time I end up finishing second because I wasn't posing right. I had my whole back scrunched up like this. And so then I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go to Chicago again. I got this. Got blew out again. So then I finally humbled myself and got on that messenger and was like, hey.
How you been?
Hey, how you doing? Can we talk? And ever since then, we kind of just, since 2016, we just been rocking together. And, he's always had my back. He's always been in my corner, even though, it's been like a couple times. Like I started a prep last year. He's trying to just kind of do some things on my own. He stepped in the last 8 weeks and got me all the way together.
That was a little more impressive turnaround.
Yeah, he stepped in. I had been prepping for 8 weeks prior to him, and it wasn't like I was just trying to, self do some things myself, and, nothing like I wasn't like disrespecting him or anything like that. It was just kind of like I was in a moment where I was like, I want to try, like, because I'm trying to figure out if I really, I'm getting a little bit older. Do I really want to go into the next phase of like coaching and judging and things like that? So I can't compete forever.
Right.
So, but then I was like, shit. I was like, I can't do this. Gary, can you?
We got 2 months to go.
Right.
Yeah, help me out.
And he stepped in, and I ended up finishing 6th at Kentucky, and that was my highest placing as a pro. Mm. And when I finished 6th at the Kentucky Pro, and like I said, this year I kind of like with COVID, I was kind of back and forth doing stuff, and then I had a guy that I was working with. He was trying to help me go through a different method. He was teaching me some different lifts and things like that, so he was helping me with my prep. And then I kind of like COVID kept going and going and going. And
Dude, it's still going and going.
Yeah, the show I had planned got canceled, and so then I was like, oh shit! Like we were just saying, like I'm like, all right, well I'm gonna do this master show, even though I really don't want to, because there's like, but I'm gonna do it because I'm already been kind of like working towards this, and I don't want to be doing all this for nothing. And so I did that show, and it didn't go out that well. And so the first thing I did was, as soon as I got my hotel room, was what I did I texted him like, hey, we gotta go in 2021. I was like, we gotta come with it.
Yeah, so what's your sights now? What you aiming for? What like time frame, or a particular show, or?
We're right now, we're trying to have.
We might cross paths again.
Yeah, you're getting ready to do another one. I know I feel like last time we talked, you were kind of like, I'm just kind of waiting for the right opportunity.
Yeah, so I'm big on going in, like when I get on stage, everything has to fall together. Finances, I gotta know I'm on top of everything. So I actually start my off season February 2nd, and I run that for probably 13, 14 weeks. Goal is to get up to like 210, 215, and then I'll diet back down, and hopefully I get on stage at like high 170s, maybe low 180s. If
like fall time or
definitely fall time. So
so we're pretty much like on the same page
track.
right now. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, he's just put my off season plan together, and so I'm probably in the same boat, about to get ready to start mine on my meals and stuff on Sunday. So we're pretty much in the same area, and when we've been talking and stuff like that, the goal is for me to kind of like, we know that when I do diet down and I do cut down, I can be one of the best guys. But right now, I just don't have as much size as we would want to have, especially with my back and stuff. Like mainly with my back.
Yeah, his front is disgusting. His back is his weak area. Posing is difficult because he can only shift weight to one side. He can only he has limitations with his posing.
Right.
So since day one, that's always been something. How can we make you unique? How can we take this and highlight what you have,
right.
and so on? Because he already looks different when he gets up on the stage. So he already stands out from the start, but we have to make it stand out for the right reasons,
right?
As opposed to what he has going on. So, yeah, man, it's just a continued process where you just look to improve every single time.
Well, I mean, I give you guys props. I mean, for anyone that competes, because we talked about it on the first time you were on, Gary, and I used to be a lot bigger into it than what I am now. I never competed because I was always one of those things where I was like, that's a lot of work and a lot of dieting and like a lot of self-control and determination. And I was like, I got a lot of that, but I don't know if I have enough of it. I don't know if I have enough because it takes a lot. I mean, I can only imagine, like I said, I can only imagine, and I do kind of want to, I hear there's a super interesting story behind, what happened to you. But you talking about track. So do you do traveling track? Are you like a coach a traveling track team, or you sit around a state? And
well, I ran track my entire life since I was a kid. I actually went to college on a scholarship. I was All-American. I was all-conference MAC. And then when they cut the program at Toledo, I was at University of Southern Miss. I was all-conference at Conference USA. And 3-time NCAA regional qualifier.
You're a fast motherfucker.
Yeah. I mean, I had high hopes of one day to make the Olympics, but that all changed. Like I got hurt in 2004, graduated in 2005, but I finished out my last season. Still placing in conference that year, and still making it to the regionals. But I ended up, I just came home. I graduated from college, came home, and kind of like. It was like, all right, I got to be an adult now.
That sucks.
So I ended up, I joined the Army in 2006. And at that time I had my wife and my oldest son. So it was like this decision, like I was working, but I was like, I wasn't happy. My brother and my cousin both were in the Marines. And ironically, my brother came home from Iraq at the same time I graduated from college in 2005. So I think I graduated that May, and my brother got home in like September-ish, I believe around that time. And so my older brother has always been one of my biggest influence and things like that. So I was like, you know what? I'm not really happy with work and stuff like that. So the military was like the best, the option for me. I looked at my wife was getting her degree in education. I was like, if we live on a base, then they always got school, so she can always have a job. So I joined and became a military police, and I was in for like 2 years before we got the call that we were going to get deployed. So we got told 2008 that we were going to Iraq in 2009. So we did a lot of training and all this stuff and getting ready, and so we ended up going to Iraq in January 2009, right after my birthday, because my birthday is January 1st. So we left.
Happy belated birthday!
Thanks. We left. Right, I would say like January 4th, 5th, around that time. We flew out, went to Kuwait, stayed in Kuwait for like a good 7 days to get acclimated to the heat, acclimated to the time difference and stuff like that.
It gets super hot, super hot out there.
Oh yeah, like 130 degrees.
and you're in full gear and everything.
Like, is it? No, is it? I
That
hear
would have been
lot
enough for me to say. I'm
out. I'm good. Yeah, I don't like the cold.
But it's
that's
a dry.
way too hot.
It's such a dry heat that you become so used to it that you don't even think about it after a while. Like after you get there, and it's crazy because when the temperature drops down to like 90 degrees at night, you're freezing.
Like putting on a sweatshirt.
Really?
Yeah, and it was crazy when I first came back home, and it was like summertime in DC, and I was so cold when I was in the hospital. So it definitely is a different experience as far as temperature is considered. But we hit the ground running. I'll never forget. We got there into like after a week of being in Kuwait, we got to Iraq, and usually what you do is you take over for the other company that's ahead of you.
Right.
So they teach you everything about the city, all the missions and stuff, and they kind of like, military police, our job is to work with their police and stuff like that, train them, go on missions with them, do road checks and things of that nature. So that's what we were doing when I was there. And like my very first mission there was to help them do their very first election. So we had to, we did we had to go to all their voting sites to make sure there was no bombs and took the dogs out, making it like, it was crazy because so then we had to transport their ballots to Baghdad that night. So we had to set up like, we had to set up like a decoy truck and a truck that actually had the ballots, go different routes. That way, if something happened, hopefully they would attack the decoy truck. I mean, that sounds bad, but that's the thought process that we
Who volunteers for the decoy truck?
Yeah, right.
There ain't no volunteer. It's just that's your mission.
You get voluntold.
Yeah, that's your mission. So, but I was there for a hot 5 months before everything went bad. Basically, and it's kind of crazy because I always tell myself that I knew something was going to go wrong that day because 2 of our trucks broke down prior to us even leaving off of base. So we had to switch out vehicles. And so, in the military, MPs, we are always in teams. And I'm team leader, Bravo's team leader. And so my truck is always, it's 4 trucks in the convoy. My truck is always second in the convoy. But that day, they made me lead truck because the Alpha's truck had broken down, so they had to take a smaller vehicle, which I was okay with because my truck has led the convoy before. But it's just like, all right, 2 trucks break down, and now we got to switch out. So it was just weird. So we went, did mission with the police and things like that. Everything was smooth, cool, nothing bad happened, no craziness. And so we were leaving out, and this is May 23rd, 2009. I'll never forget the date. We're leaving out, and there's only so many routes to get into the city. But we never kept the same. One of the things about being in the military, they tell you never do the same thing twice, never keep the same pattern, because that's one of the things they do is they watch right before they attack. So,
and I feel like during that time things were pretty heated.
Yeah, it was still pretty crazy over there. And so as we're leaving, we got to make a right-hand turn to get ready to. It's coming up. We got to make a right-hand turn to get out of the city and be on the freeway and on our way back to the base. Man, as soon as we get ready to make this turn, it was like boom, the loudest explosion I had ever heard. And to be honest with you, it had caught me so off guard that I was in a daze when it happened. And so I'm just like, man, what just happened? And I'll never forget, like, it was like smoke everywhere. And so as I'm looking around trying to figure out what's going on, trying to see, I sit in the passenger seat because I'm the team leader. And so my driver, she's a little, frazzled, a little freaked out. The window is completely cracked in the front. And then I'm sitting there, I look, and it's like it's called a Blue Force tracking system. It's like in my lap because it's like it sits on the dashboard. It's like bolted to the dashboard, but whole dashboard is now in front of me in my lap, and my door is completely blasted in on my side. And so
was the explosion on your side then?
It was completely on my right hand side. Like it hit my side of the truck, destroyed my door and everything.
Now was it like a?
It's we call them the EFP, which is the newer things that they started creating when I got over there. But in most terms, we just say IED, roadside bomb for everybody else. But they created these new hyper type cannons that they put a copper concave shell on it, and then they put like a whole bunch of like nails, rocks, and everything else. So when it blasts out, the shell pops and becomes like a cannonball with a trail of shrapnel following behind it. Jeez. So
Is that just triggered by like
a cell phone?
So it was. It's all. So they're watching.
Yeah, they were watching. They were watching. It's buried. It was completely buried under the ground. Crazy thing was they had built all new roads, so they put it in while they were putting in new roads. So it was like this beautiful new black pavement that you would not be able to tell.
Never expect.
So, and the crazy part was, it lifted. They had so much in there. It lifted all 4 trucks off of the ground. Like the blast made us all come up and come crashing back down. And we're spread out a good 50 meters from each other. So for my truck to be the first truck to hit, and then the other truck is almost 200 meters behind me, and the very last truck is almost 200 meters behind me, for all 4 of us to come up off the ground and come smashing down was crazy, because that meant that they put a lot into that as far as the actual.
So does that mean they had multiple under?
Yeah,
there?
they had. It was. They had
like a series of them?
Yeah, series up underground that set off. And so as I'm looking around, and when I finally looked to the right hand side, that's when I realized that I was hit, because I couldn't feel anything. I have no recollection of pain or anything like that. So, and I'm like, man, I'm like, I cannot believe this shit just happened, because I'm like, man, I really just got blown up. And that's like literally the only thing in my mind. Like, I'm not thinking about dying. I'm like, I just got blown. Like, I was like, God damn it! Everybody else came here, and I come here.
It's like when you stub your toe. Like, really? Yeah. I knew the corner of that table was there.
So, first thing I do is, because I'm naturally left-handed, so my weapon and stuff sits right here. And the way I ride in my truck is, we have these emergency locks on the door, so I always keep my hand on my emergency lock in case I have to open it up and get out. So I pull my hand up, and my hand is completely just mangled inside. And like, I still got my like, the only thing that's saving it right now is a glove. So there's a contractor in the back. These are guys that we usually hire to come over and do things for us that we don't technically want to do. So he is in the back, and he's like, CJ, give me your hand. I got to stop the bleeding. And so he takes my hand, and he's like wrapping it and doing first aid, and so during this process, we're calling in. I'm on the mic I'm still trying to keep my composure. I'm on the mic calling back to base, trying to call and get a medevac. And my squad, they actually get into a firefight outside, because they can't rescue me, because they have to they got to take these guys out, because they were watching, and then they realized it didn't do whatever they wanted it to do. And so they get into a firefight. Now, during this whole time, I'm like literally sitting on top of the bomb. Like, it stops underneath my seat. And so it's burning through the back of my legs, and I have no idea, and it severs my artery. So I'm losing blood. My leg is pinned between my dashboard and my door, and so I can't get my right leg free. I'm trying to get free because, I'm trying to get comfortable too. So I'm trying to get free. I'm trying to find a way to, get comfort as best as I can. And so I'm just like, man, this is like the worst thing ever. And so then eventually the door opens on her side. I see my guys, and they take her out first. They get her out first. My gunner's up top. He's keeping everything. He's watching everything, making sure that I'm okay, making sure that nobody tries to attack the truck. So he's like taking care of business up there. And I'll never forget, I remember, I guess I do, I did what everybody does when they're about to die. I started praying. That was the first thing I never forget. I'm like, God, just, I'm like, I don't care what happens to me. Just allow me to see my sons grow up and see my wife. I was like, I don't really care about the physical part anymore. Just let me see them grow up. And so they was like, all right, CJ, we're going to yank you out the truck on the count of 3. Now, this is the very first time I actually screamed in pain, because all that metal and stuff cut through my leg. And I was like screaming so loud, and I'll never forget that. And when they put me on the gurney, I looked at my leg. I'm like, God damn it, that's gonna get cut off. I was like,
first you blow me up.
I was like, damn it, I'm gonna lose my leg. I'm like, well, and it's crazy because I'm dead serious. Like, because I was over there training because I wanted to come back home and start back running track. So the whole time I was in Iraq, I was really out there running every day, lifting every day, prepping. So when I came back, I can try out for the USA trials and try to hopefully make it to the Olympics in 2012. Like I had a whole game plan. And so then when I looked at my leg, I was like, God damn it. I was like, well, they do got the Paralympics. That might be where it's at if I got to go with the tink leg. So they put me on the back of another truck, and so I'm on the back of the truck. I'm with my dude. His name is Steve Bardish. He's like one of my closest friends since I joined the military. He's in the back of the truck with me, and he's there with the medic, and they're trying to put the tourniquets on, stop the bleeding, making sure that I'm okay. And I call him Scuba Steve because he looks like Adam Sandler. So and his name is Steve. He's like, he's in the truck, and the medic's like, hey, you got to stab him in the hip with this needle. And for the morphine, Steve's like, yeah, I got it. And I swear to God, it's been 11 years, and to this day, I don't know how this happened. But Steve misses me and stabs himself with the morphine needle. So Jesus. I have, to this day, I'm like, did we hit a bump? What happened? Like, how did you stick yourself? And
he could have shot you anywhere. He could have shot you anywhere in your body.
Yeah, but
literally
he misses. And so they got to get him medical attention now because he's high as a kite. So the medic finally gets to stab me with the needle, and so that really takes away a lot of the pain. And so then we finally get to where the helicopter landing zone, where the helicopter is at. They put me on a helicopter, and to this day, I'll never forget all the guys and the girls' faces, because it's like everybody, like I'm laying back, and I remember seeing like everybody surrounding me, and was like, we got you, we're gonna make sure that we gonna, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna get through this, we're gonna, and you know what I'm saying, and I never forget, they was like, because they had to put them on homicide watch, because they was like, if they would go back in that city, they was going to tear everybody apart. Because it's different when you're in the military and somebody and you feel like this is your family, and somebody's trying to take one of your family members away. So, but I got on. They put me on a helicopter. I'm high as a kite because I started talking. I'm asking them about the Cavs at this point in time. It's 2009 playoffs. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Not worried about
finally got that morphine in you.
Yeah, not worried about any injuries and nothing no more. I'm more worried about what's going on. And I think the medics were trying to do a good job of trying to keep my mind off of what's going on. So that's why I think they entertained the whole Cavs and stuff like that. So I get to the hospital. They're asking me all these kind of questions, and they're checking with me, and then they finally take the tourniquet off my leg, and then boom, heart stopped beating.
Jeez.
I lost too much blood for my heart to keep going, and so they initially called my wife and was like, he gonna die, like he's not gonna make it. So they was like, we're gonna try our best to get him together, just to get him to Germany so that you can see him one last time before he officially goes. And so they tried the defibrillator the 3 times. The 3rd time my heart started back beating. And they said they rushed to put blood back in me. They didn't have enough blood to put in me, so they had to get 13 people to volunteer right then and there to get blood out of them from the hospital, different soldiers and nurses and things like that. They volunteered to give their blood to me. They ran it through a machine to make sure that they didn't have anything real quick. And then just while they were doing surgery, just kept pumping blood into me to keep me alive. And so then they called my wife back and was like, nah, we just playing. He gonna live. We got this. And so I woke up like 2-3 days later, and I was in Germany. Had no idea what happened, how I got there, what was, you know what I'm saying? When I woke up, I was more shocked that I had my leg still. I woke up like, y'all kept it? How? Like last time I seen it was bones coming out my pants. So, when I woke up, I called my wife, and once again, I'm still in the good stuff. So I instead of telling her like, "Hey, I'm alive, I'm good," I was like, "What's going on with the playoffs?" And she was like, "Seriously, you asking me about the damn Cavs right now, and you just almost died?"
Oh, the slap, yeah.
Yeah. So then they ended up flying me home to DC, and I stayed at Walter Reed Hospital for 9 months, and I had surgery after surgery, just different things to kind of like re-put me together. And so I ended up losing my my tibia out of my leg all of my calf muscle is almost completely gone. And my hand was actually, the way they did my hand was they took it and cut me open on my side and sewed my hand right here for like 5 weeks. I was like a little teapot. Like I was literally like this. Couldn't move it, couldn't do nothing. And I found out that if your body is, and I didn't know this because I'm not into medicine, but if your body is reconnected to itself, it can regenerate nerves and feelings. So that's why they did it. And so that's how they went. So all of the skin that's on my hand actually comes from my hip.
Do you have feeling there?
Yeah. Like it's feeling like this is the most sensitive part. Like whenever, like it takes forever to warm this hand up. Like if it's cold, like it's cold outside right now, like I got to keep this hand in a pocket. It gets cold real fast. It's sensitive. Like if I bump it, it doesn't hurt, but it's just like, it's just really weird and really different. So, and then like my leg, I don't have a lot of, you know what I'm saying? There's certain spots that I don't have any feeling. Like I literally can get like I get little scratches and cuts and stuff like that, especially like if I'm lifting and I do deadlifts and that bar have to just scrape across. And then I won't even notice it until like I'm putting lotion on. I'm like, damn, I cut my leg. When did I do that? I don't even feel it. Yeah. And so it's little things like that. And then, you know, me sitting on top of the bomb, I lost a good 25% of this hamstring and like 35% of the other one. So they're like big scars, like I would say about that big on the back of my legs.
And this man still runs and jumps hurdles and everything else like he's trying out for the Olympics.
And so, and I think it's because when I was in the hospital, everybody kept telling me what I couldn't do.
Right.
Everybody's like, you're not gonna, you know, we know you used to be this and you used to be that, and just be happy that you were able to walk and get up. And at first they told me I was never gonna be. They was like, you're gonna have to use a walking assistant for the rest of your life. You're gonna have to probably use some type of AFO or something to kind of like I'll never forget. Once I came home from the hospital, I got home 9 months later. March 2010, and they were shocked that I got out of the hospital. They were like, they expected me to be there for 12 to 15 months. But I had, every day I went to physical therapy and occupational therapy. I'm like, let's go. Like, and it took, and and this is how it all happened. I've been married to my wife for 12.
Don't mess this up on video. Just skip that part.
12 years now. It'll be 13 years this June. So I've been with my wife for quite a while. We got 3 sons. We've been together for 16 years.
You had a lot to live for.
Yeah, and so at the time I had my 2 oldest sons, who are now 16 and 13. And the crazy part was my second son, who's now 13 years old, I got injured 5 days after his second birthday. All that stuff went bad. So that's why I was really in a different, like I was praying that day, because he literally had just turned 2, and I had talked to him the night before to make sure that he got the bike that I had sent for his birthday. And so I never forget, I was in the hospital. I hadn't walked in 2 months after the injury. And they was like, all right, it's time to go to therapy. It's your first day to stand up and start walking again. I'm all excited because, I had been going through a lot mentally, being depressed and stuff like that. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm about to walk, because you're thinking to yourself, like, I've been walking since I was 1 year old. I'm about to get up and handle this. And they got me there, and they got me into the physical therapy room, and they put me in the little bars, and it was like, all right, stand up. And I couldn't do it. And I never forget. They was like, just stand up for like 5 seconds, and I couldn't do it, and I never forget, I'm just crying hysterically, and I'm like so emotional. And at the time, my son was there, my oldest son was there, and so my oldest son and my wife were there with me that day, and so I'm just crying and crying because I'm like, I felt like, dang, like I'm gonna be confined to this wheelchair, I'm gonna be confined to this type of life if I can't get up and do this. And so I never forget. So I'm just in my wheelchair, and I'm leaving the therapy room, and I'm just gliding along in my wheelchair, still crying. Like I'm crying like just like snot and stuff too. Like, so, and I never forget, it's like all of a sudden God just touched me right then and there. And it really was my wife slapping the hell out of me in the back of my head. Like, she slapped me so hard that day. And I was all emotional because, like, wait a minute. Like, you supposed to be on my, support me, not hitting me. And she hit me in the back of the head, like, and she came and she zoomed around the front of my chair. And she was like, why are you doing all this crying? She was like, you got to suck this up. She was like, you have to be the man that you used to be. She was like, you have to be determined enough to get out this chair and walk for yourself. And that right there was the moment everything changed. I used to go to therapy and walk to, like, because I had an external fixator on my leg. I used to walk to that thing, used to start bleeding. I did not care. I was so determined to stand up and just walk and move. So they put me in, I had a walker. I went from a walker to crutches, from crutches to a cane, to now where I'm in the gym doing box jumps. I'm sprinting with my sons. Granted, my foot stays at a 90-degree angle because it won't flex anymore because the bones and stuff have fused in my ankle. But I don't even care. Like, I was so determined because they kept telling me everything I couldn't do, that I had to show people that it is not that you, as long as you don't put limitations on yourself, as long as you don't allow people to put you in a box, you can be as great as you want to be. And so that was my mentality the whole time. And to be honest with you, bodybuilding and weightlifting and stuff like that saved me even further because I still wasn't 100% happy with life and things that were going on. I had graduated with my master's degree. I had my wife. I had my third son was about to be born. But I still wasn't mentally happy. And I found happiness, even though I was in the gym all the time and I was lifting. I had a friend from high school. He was like, you should do, and he introduced me into men's physique. At first, he was like, this is the bodybuilder. I was like, hold up now. Do you know what my legs look like? You want me to get up here with my blown up ass with some boxer with a bikini? No, who doing that? He's like, no, it's this new division. It's called men's physique. He's like, you wear board shorts. They only look at your upper body. I'm like, oh. So then that's when I started researching it, and the day I got on that stage at Dave Lieberman in 2014, my whole life changed. I felt like a bigger purpose. Granted, yes, you can have family, you can have, but if you don't have your own inside thing that makes you feel great in your own purpose, that makes you feel like, you know what I'm saying, especially because I was an athlete my whole life, right. I needed something, and that right there, like, it changed me. And so the people I met, especially like with Gary and between Neek and Zach and just Kevin, you know, just the different people I met along the way that have been like just great guys, and some of the ladies that I met along the way too have been just great people, and it's just a different feeling. And like I said, I'm 39, I'm 39, but I can't see myself giving this up for a while. I love compete. I hate dieting. I ain't gonna lie. I hate cardio. I hate when he be like, all right, I'm gonna need you to up it right now. I'm gonna need you
like today or like next month.
Next time.
He's like, or, you know what I'm saying? Or when he be like, all right, I'm going to take all this from you. You can have this, though. You can still eat this, but you ain't going to be able to eat this no more.
Green beans.
Like, what, you serious? I got to boil the chicken and just eat that with green beans?
Nothing like boiled chicken, huh?
So, but I love it. I love doing it. Have I hit the status I wanted to hit? Nah, I mean, do it. And that's one of the things I was soaking, and I can thank him for being a great mentor to me about the industry and things like that. Like at first I was like, I want a sponsor. I want this. To me, it's never, and it wasn't until I met him that I realized it's not that deep. Just go out here, do it for you, have fun, and then everything else
falls into place.
Yeah, and that's what he taught me. Everything else falls into place when it's time. And so that's some of the great things that have happened with me. I've been on TV. I've been featured in a documentary that he's in.
You ever want to see him jump in water? It's another little show that he got to be on. This is interesting.
Yeah, because I can't swim. So, but
well, what's that about?
It's a. I was picked to be one. I was one of the top 10 athletes, wounded athletes, to compete in a show called the Triumph Game that aired on CBS Sports back in 2016, and it was a series of 10 events that we competed against each other at West Point, and I got a chance to go there and do this, and it was, like I said, it was only 4 episodes, and it aired on it was on CBS Sports, and so then the second, I won the first event. The first event was running with push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups. Killed that event. Second event was, and they told me this, when the TV show first contacted me and stuff, we started talking and stuff like that there would be no water events. I'm like, cool, because I can't swim. You know what I'm saying? We was gonna do water. It might some kayak. Where I got a life jacket on and it might flip over. But if you want me to physically swim, that's not gonna happen. So then, 2 weeks before the show, before we fly out and start airing the show, they was like, oh yeah, we added a water event. I said, I don't know how to swim. It was like, you got 2 weeks. I was like, you got 2 weeks.
He's watching. He's back on YouTube again.
Yeah, right. Right. So I'm like, oh my God. So,
everything else you've accomplished at this point, I wouldn't put it past you. I'd give you 2 days.
Anything you set your mind to.
Right. Yeah, 1 or 2 days, I think.
So I get there and for this show, and so like I said, I win the first event. We go into the hotel that night, and we having a meeting with the producers and stuff like that, and they telling us about the second event. I'm like, all right, man, look, y'all know. They was like, yeah, we know you can't swim. I was like, so y'all want me to I'm like, so is there lifeguards? Is there just
tie a rope around me just in case.
Which cool, what's his name? Tim Kennedy.
Yeah,
UFC fighter, military. He's the host of the show.
Oh, okay.
So he's there, and he's like a rescue swimmer and all this other stuff. So he's like, don't worry, CJ, I got you. He was like, so we get there. They take us into the.
Did you ever try to swim before that, or
everybody was assigned a coach, which was a military person too, and my dude Nick, he was there with me. So we got up at 6 o'clock in the morning, asked the hotel to open the pool up, and he was trying to show me. He's like, "Look, this is all you got to do. This is how you got to do it. This is how you float. This is how you float." He was like, so he didn't I'm like, it's 2 hours before the tape, and he's like, we in this pool, and he's like, "This is all you got to do." He's like, "Just do this." I'm like, "Man, I can't do this." I'm like, "I don't know." I'm like, I feel like a brick every time I'm in the water. So I'm like, the hell with it. I'm like, we gonna figure it out. Just give me some goggles. Just give me some goggles so I can see. Because the event was, you had to jump off the high dive board all the way. It was like a 2-story drop into the water, 18 feet of water. Swim to the other side, to the 8-foot side, and then go underwater and do a puzzle.
Oh yeah, it's not.
You had to memorize the puzzle while you were standing on the high dive. Get over there and then put all the places inside. Like hell no.
That's not an event for someone who can't swim.
And who's first? Because he won the first event. This guy.
Oh man.
So I jump into this water, and amazingly, I'm pushing. I get to the top, and all you hear me scream is "Help! Help!"
This is aired on TV. I was like this.
Oh no.
And this is right after and the show airs right after I win my pro card too. A month after I win my pro card, this show airs.
All the dudes he beat are like, that's what he gets.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so,
is it still on anywhere? Do you know if it's on Hulu
I have
like
a video of it. It used to be on the website, but it came down about a couple months ago. I mean, about a year or so ago. But if I can find it, I'll try to shoot area link so he can get it to you. But so yeah, so I did this show. I ended up finishing 4th in the show overall because I had once I did that, I fell down on the point scale. So I had to really work hard in the last 8 events to kind of get myself back up into the game. And so, but it was fun. It was a great experience. Most of the competitors I still talk to this day, either through social media. We always, kind of keep up with each other, and it's kind of cool to still do. And so then that kind of opened up the door for me to be in the Epic Step documentary called Alive. And I ended because, there's a lot of wounded soldiers that do sports, and mostly they do basketball, track and field events, archery, volleyball. But I'm the only one that they had ever met that did bodybuilding. And so that's what they wanted to include me in this documentary because I was that much different. Like most of us who get injured, like, you know, you wouldn't even think twice about, you know what I'm saying, going this route, especially when, you know what I'm saying, you lost your fingers and things like that. And I had, like, when I got into this, I had to really, like, I had to buy this hook, like, strap that kind of so that I can do back exercises.
Right.
And so I think that's why, you know what I'm saying, my back has always lacked, because it took me a while to really find, once I found this hook, to really like start moving weight, start really pulling weight and start moving. And sometimes it becomes, I mean, it gets hard because it's a strap. It's literally like, and I'm like, especially like if I'm pulling, like doing rack pulls or something like that, I'm using straight nothing but my wrist,
Right,
to pull this up. Or essentially where I'm using this hand, activating my forearm muscles and everything else to kind of like pull. I don't activate these forearm muscles to do certain things like that. So, and it's completely different. So, so like I said, I filmed this show. They came with us to Linda Murray Pro show back in 2017, I think it was. Yeah, that was 2017. Gary was with me, and so and then the movie it dropped in 2019. It came out. They're still on Hulu right now. It's
And Prime, right?
yeah, it's on Hulu and Prime. You can watch. It's called Alive.
check that out.
You get to see my journey, but you get to see some other soldiers and stuff like that journey as well. The one guy on there, his name is Adam Pops. He was on the TV show with me. This dude is amazing. He runs ultra marathons and all kind of stuff. He, but the crazy part is his leg is going all the way up to here, where his hip, almost up to his hip. He got hit by an IED, and so this dude whole leg is complete metal when he runs, but he will kick your ass in a marathon. Like this dude, our last event was this running event where we had to go all through West Point up and find all these different clues. Man, when I say he was out and like that was his key event, he was gone.
He was like, yes, finally.
Yes. But he does it. He he traveled all over the world, and he's one of the top marathon amputee runners in the world. He's a great guy. So it's those type of experiences that have been opened up with me, and like I said, and that's because I mean I credit a lot of that to him because of the way he kind of mentored me and said, hey, just let things fall into place. Don't go out here trying to rush to be, you know what I'm saying, you don't have to be like this person or this person. He was like, you know what I'm saying, it took them time, so it'll take you time. So, and he was like, trust me, he was like, ain't nobody like you. He was like, you got one of the most unique stories I've ever heard. He was like, when the time comes, he was like, it'll all fall into place. And so, and like I said, it has. Like there has been great things. And so, I literally just finished my book this past year. It's being edited right now. I'm hoping it comes out later on this year. I made sure I messaged
all types of things.
I made sure I messaged him. I was like, "Is it okay if I talk about you?" Because the last half of the last part of the book is really detailed around you.
He's like, okay, yeah.
Because the book pretty much talks about my journey from Iraq to what I experienced in the hospital. I wanted to make sure that people kind of seen the whole story. I talk a lot about suicide and depression because those are big things to me that affected me. And so I talked about all those.
Where are you at to this day as far as depression goes?
I'm happy. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. Like I let so much stuff go. And I talk a lot about that inside of the book as far as, you know, how I found a way to move forward and how I found a way to kind of get better. And like I said, the bodybuilding, and that's where he came, like in that book, that aspect is talked about a lot about how I changed and how I became who I am today. And so right now, like I said, I'm the happiest I've ever been. I got 3 wonderful sons. I've been a teacher for the last 8 years. My students love me and I love them.
Got a nationally ranked track star in his
my baby boy, even though he's 16, he was the number 1 freshman last year in the nation in the hurdles. Right now he is the number 1 long jumper in the state, and he's the 17th best long jumper in the nation. and he's the 23rd best hurdler in the nation, and he's only a sophomore.
Oh man,
he is an animal when it comes. Like he's at practice right now, literally. He is an animal when it comes to the track. And then I have another son who's 13, who's bigger than me already, and he's a hell of a football player. So I just and that's my lifting partner, like me and him.
So they think they got some good genes.
So, and then my youngest son, who's Aaron, who's only 9, he'll play any sport. You put a sport and say, hey, you want to go play football, basketball, soccer? You want to go run track? You want to he's gonna do it. Like he's big into American Ninja, and so we've been going to this American Ninja course down in Canton. But that's his. He really wants to, like, once COVID gets under control, he really wants to try out for the American Ninja Kid version. And
that's getting really big too. I haven't noticed it, like the Arnold, I think it was the last time when I was there. They that's growing even there too. They have like a little course and stuff they're having at the Arnold. They do that.
So, but yeah. So like I said, but in the book I talk about all this stuff and how how I got to from point A to now, point B where I'm at in my life as far as just overall happiness. And I want people to kind of see that, people see me on social media and they see they only see pockets of my life. They don't know all of the pain and stuff that I went to get here and all the mental anguish and stuff that I suffered through to get to where I'm at right now. And so I wanted to make sure when I wrote this book that I detailed all that, because I feel like it doesn't matter if you never experienced something traumatic, but I feel like it can help anybody, any age, that if they take the time to kind of see where my story and see where I've been through, it can probably, take them to a place of happiness and say that, hey, I can do this, or, it ain't got to be, bodybuilding, but whatever it is that you want to do in life, you can do it, and don't let nobody tell you can't. You just got to keep being persistent and keep fighting for whatever you want. And my fight was for just overall happiness.
I mean, it's when that's coming out. Do you have a published date on that?
Like I said, I just got with the me and the editor just finalized the contract as far as that part is concerned. So I'm hoping May. Ironically, I wanted to kind of be around the same time my injury was, because we call that our live day. So I wanted to be around that time period. So if I can, if not, then September was my other. I'm doing them like I said, once again, I really want to have like a book release, where I can have people come, get actual copies of it, signed and stuff like that, and have a good time of celebrating it. So that was the ultimate goal, COVID pending. So either May, I'm thinking like late spring, early fall.
Well, make sure you keep us posted, because I want a copy.
Definitely.
I want to read it and check it out. Going all the way through back to your, just some points that really hit me, like when you talked about sitting in the truck and, shooting that prayer out and just saying, I just want to survive, to, finding yourself in the hospital with your family, after that. And then, the struggles through that. It's, I think a lot of people need to hear that, and need to see where you're at, that, you see this big jack dude, and you're like, oh, that guy's, he doesn't have problems, or whatever. It's like, those people don't have emotions. They're, so people seeing that, these different emotions and being able to listen to that, I think that's a lot. I think the world needs that, to have that emotional and personal connection with people and understand that, hey, everyone's got their shit.
Yeah, because trust me, it took me one of the biggest things, and I talk about this and also in my book, one of the hardest things was for me to do when I first came back home from the hospital was to wear shorts, because I hate people staring at me. I hate people looking at me and staring at me, and I didn't want, because since my leg does not look like everybody else, I got this one big giant calf over here, and then I got this itty bitty leg. I call it my kickstand, to be honest with you. I said, so, because And the crazy part is, whenever people get around me and you get to know me, I make so many jokes about being injured and about who I am because it doesn't bother me. And like some of my students, they'll look and when I make a joke in class, did he say that? Did he really say that about himself? Like, it's not that serious. I'm alive. I'm still here. These are. I had to realize that these are just cosmetic things that, you know what I'm saying, I can't change them. So I got to learn to live with them, and I got to learn to be happy with who I am. And so, and then, like I said, once again, you got to be in my family. We a little different, you know what I'm saying. We got our own inside jokes. Like my son, he said, my youngest son, who's only 9, he don't know no better. He said, "Daddy, your hand looks like Mr. Krabs' hand." So,
You're like, watch me use it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just little things like that I'm so just, like I said, it doesn't bother me, and I want people to understand that have fun. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you want to like get to know me, talk with me, you'll see that I haven't changed as far as I didn't let the injuries change me. As far as, you know, it took me a while to get to that point. And like I said, I was so scared to wear shorts because I didn't want people staring at me and stuff like that. When all this first happened, and then like I said, after a while, the reason I started wearing shorts was because I went to go visit some friends in Arizona. I was like, God damn it, it's too hot for these pants. I was like, let me go to the store and just get some shorts and just put them on, and like, who cares? I'm like, at this point in time, I don't care.
Well, I think too, you know, it's, you know, listen to your story and you know, hearing some of those things where it's, you know, people think all these little things are such big, massive things in their life when you're alive. You got that going for you. You know, I had a buddy this week that I'd known for years and years get in a car accident just the other day. Gone. Had a fiance and kid on the way. You know, gone. Life it can be gone in an instant, you know, so to be able to appreciate, like, where do you think that came from for you, being able to look past some of those things and being able to work through some of those struggles and just finding that happiness?
I think it came from my dad. Growing up, my father was so instrumental in my life and the way he raised me and things like that. And I never forget growing up. I always growing up, I used to get picked on when I was like in elementary school because, you know, I got a big nose. I ain't even gonna lie. It's who I am. I got the nose Michael Jackson didn't want. So, I used to get messed with, and my dad used to always tell me, he was like, you can't change that about yourself. That's who you are. He was like, you got to learn to love and accept yourself for who you are. And he was like, if people don't like it, oh well. He was like, you know what I'm saying, you just got to be strong enough to accept it and just be strong enough to move past it. And that lesson at being in first, second grade helped me build up to who I am today. And so when for some reason, I think those words came back into play when after the injury and stuff like that, and I stopped caring what people thought. And I just, you know what I'm saying, I'll rock my shorts. Another thing I used to always try to have a hoodie or put my hand in my pocket because I didn't want people to see my hand and things like that. Because when you're in a hospital, everybody's like you. It's like, you know, this guy missing an arm, he missing, like, we all the same, so we don't really care. But, or if I'm, you know what I'm saying, or I'm at a military base or something like that, it's more, you know what I'm saying, they can understand. But civilians, everyday people, they don't understand. They look at you and judge your outside appearance without understanding your whole story. And so that used to be my fear too, of like people just judging me and not knowing my whole story. And sometimes I used to try to do things to kind of make it so people would, like, I would either have my veteran hat on or my purple hat on sometimes. But then after a while, I just stopped caring. You know what I'm saying? That way, because that was my, like, those were my safety blanket. So if I had on some shorts, I'll put on a hat on. So, you know, like, oh, okay, you know, that's why that looks like that. You know, he served. But now I just like, who cares?
Yeah, well, normal people can be assholes sometimes. Yeah. And that's I can only imagine the people you met, obviously, because I mean Tony finally showed up. Tony, CJ,
hey, very nice to meet you.
Yeah, he's been on a TV show with all types of shit going on. Man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so but it's I can only imagine some of the stuff you've gone through, and you know the people that you've met along the way has been a huge impact on, you keep hyping up Gary. I'm assuming he went to the bathroom or something, but
my wife is another big person in my life. Hands down, held me down through everything. I know this sounds crazy and I know this sounds messed up, but I seen some military wives jet on their husbands while they're in the hospital and just left them because they couldn't deal with all of the, just everything that was going on with that person. And so, but my wife, held me down and she stayed in my corner the entire time. Yeah, she was working on her master's degree at that time, and I told her, I'm like, don't stop. I'm like, don't worry about me. I would wake up in my hospital bed and she'd just be sitting there with a laptop just going in, just typing, doing her work. And I was like, just keep going, do what you need to do. Don't stop. But like I said, when I told you the story about her, smacking you in the head, it kind of motivated me. But she's like that now. That's my partner. That's like my ride or die. Like she always got my back no matter what. And at first, I'm gonna be honest with you, she was not on board with this men's physique stuff at all. She was like, hell no. She was like, every time she's like, so you dieting? You doing this stuff again? Huh? You doing, And she's like, but then, and it's kind of crazy because all this stuff fell into place all at the same time. End of 2015, she built me a home gym in our basement. Took on one of the rooms, gutted it out, painted all the walls, helped me buy all this gym equipment, and completely built the whole workout room for me to have in the house. She was like, if this is what you really want to do, then here. And she made it happen. And so, ironically, that whole year that I was with Gary, I trained at home. I didn't have no special gym I was going to. I was like, the only time I would go to the gym was when I was working out with him. But other than that, I did everything in my house.
Well, I think there's something special too. It kind of goes back to what you said before. It hit me when you said that like everyone's got to have their thing. Obviously, and it can be separate from your family and your kids and your wife and your husband or whatever it is. And to have your thing, and I think that it seems something special where even if it seems like something she didn't really enjoy all that much at first, but for her to support your thing,
right?
And still be there, like that's a special find to have somebody like that,
right? And so, and like I said, I appreciate everything she does, like, cause now she's to the point where she'll be at the store, like, you need anything? You got enough chicken? You got enough this? And she'll all like she's 100% on board. She's 100% behind me with it. She makes sure that, we budget and plan for shows and things like that. So for travel purpose and whatever, it's hard for, my family to be at shows. Most of the time I'm there by myself because, it's hard with 3 sons and trying to be like, all right, And then I can't be honest with you. I don't think my son, they can be like, oh my God, how long are we going to sit here? When does men's physique come on? How long is this going to be? So, but my sons they are some of my biggest supporters. They ride or die for me with this too. My second son, Colwyn Jr., that's my cameraman. He does all my pictures, does my recording for me. And Aaron, he just loves, that's my youngest. He enjoys just being in the weight room with me. If I'm at home working out, he'll just come down there. I have an elliptical in there. He calls it the motorcycle. He's like, can I get on the motorcycle while you lift? And I'm like, knock yourself out. And he just be on it for like just 30, 40 minutes just going and that's what he likes to do. And then like my oldest son, he's always like very encouraging and I'll never forget, I came home from the show and he and my wife had told me, he's like, Daddy worked so hard. He was like, I just want him to place better. He was like, he worked so hard. He was like, I can't wait till he places better. So it's crazy. My family is great. My sons, my wife, they all look out for me when it comes to this. And I'm gonna be honest with you. When I wasn't with Gary this past year, my wife yelled at me. She was like, "That's what your ass get."
Yeah. How much you pay her to say that, Gary?
Put my food back down. Like,
So
I know she run a tight ship over that.
Yeah,
one,
it
so
sounds like it.
I like that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, she definitely, like, when I told her I was back doing everything with Gary, and so she was like, she was like, all right. She was like, that's what she was like, stick to what you know. so but yeah. So yeah, but it's great having a supporting family and stuff like that. Everybody having my back. My dad, like I said, my mom, all of them, and then like I got a older brother. Like I said, my older brother who's a former Marine. Now he's been a Cleveland police officer for the longest. Me and him. The crazy thing is, we ran track together our whole lives, and now we're coaching together. So now me and him are coaches together. So it's always fun because, you know, I've coached like. Crazy thing is, I'm a high school coach and I'm a summer coach, and I've been coaching my oldest son since he was 7. And he just transferred schools. He transferred schools to be in my high school where I teach at, so that he can run under me and continue with our process that we do together.
So he just goes to school with you in the morning? COVID.
He's on the computer in the morning, yes. But if he when school does reopen back up, he will go to school with me. But he's driving now, though. He drives now, so he probably, and then he's about to be in college courses next year, so he probably won't be going to the high school as much with me, because he'll be at either Tri-C or Ashland, I forget whichever one he's going to be at, going to school, taking mostly, and then his senior year is going to be completely all college courses. So,
yeah. How's that been? 2020 as a teacher and all, like, it's got to be a challenge.
It's the worst shit ever. I hate it. I am an interactive person. I like being able to, you know what I'm saying, have fun, be, you know what I'm saying, one-on-one with my students, and, you know, conversations, and it's so different. Just, you sit in front of a computer and you feel like you're talking to yourself. Like, you literally, like, you just, like, I'm giving lessons and I'm praying to somebody just say, hey, you understand what I'm saying? Just put yes in the chat box. Do something.
Some kind
Please
of response.
move. But yeah, I hate it. Teaching is like that's my other passion, like outside of me doing what I do. But I love, as far as a career, I'm doing what I meant to do. Like, if I wasn't still able to be in the military, teaching is where I needed to be. I love working with kids. I love just, you know, that aspect of, you know, seeing kids when they have that aha moment. I get it. Like, I know what you're talking about. So that makes it, like, when you see that, it's the same thing as when you see an athlete, you know what I'm saying, reach his or her potential. Yeah. But to see a kid, you know, finally understand something and they take an interest in something. And I feel like I teach a subject that I teach history, so not a lot of kids want to learn about it. They like the wars. Like, that's the one part they do enjoy. Like, most, but they don't want to learn about who the hell cares about the progressive era. Like, nobody does.
That's one regret I have now, is I wish I would have paid more attention in history class when I was in high school.
Right.
Because I even had a history teacher that traveled the world. So, like, he, like, been to these places and stuff. And now it's like, I look back, I was like, I didn't pay attention to a damn thing he was saying.
Right.
And he probably was really interesting. Right. But
yeah, so I try to, like I said, it's always, I try to do stuff, always fun, interactive. I try to make sure that, you know, I try to bring real life situations connected to the past as much as possible as I can, so that they can understand that everything has a meaning behind it. You just gotta, you know what I'm saying, you gotta look beyond just, hey, I'm just trying to get an A or B in this class. You know what I'm saying? There's a connection to the past if you really, really dig deep and listen. So, but it's been hard, like I said. I know the kids miss it. I know mentally it's been, I think as adults, we have enough coping skills to kind of like get through this, and we realize, you know what I'm saying, hey, you know, it's going to be all right. Think that. But for a child, when you take away their social interaction and you take away just life in general, that like, as much as kids say they hate school, they love school.
And when they're stuck at home with their parents.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you stuck at home, like, you know what I'm saying? I know, like, everybody, like, I know a lot of kids, like, I'd rather just be home. I know, now you see what it's like to be at home all the time? Now you see? Now I bet you'd be happy to come back when this building opened up. But But like I said, it's just like I know it's hard on kids, especially teenagers. Like I mean, I think elementary kids are able to bounce back a little bit more because they're still young. But I think that middle school age from like probably 6th grade through 12th grade has been a complete struggle for that age group because you know what I'm saying, they can only do so much with social media. They can only do so much FaceTime and you know what I'm saying. It sucks when, you know what I'm saying, when you got rivalry basketball games, but you ain't allowed to go because ain't nobody allowed in there. You got, you know what I'm saying, you couldn't have your homecoming game and stuff like that for football because of this. You can't, you know what I'm saying, you just don't have those moments, those interactions that you're used to that I feel that you need as a kid. You need those moments.
Yeah.
But
especially like the seniors. Like,
yeah.
you know, seniors last year, it's like,
now you got seniors now.
Right.
Like the ones that aren't playing sports, you know, in college or whatever. This was all they had.
Yeah. And it's like, in one end, like I look back on it like, well, is my senior year of high school that really important? No, but in a sense it is because of those interactions, those, you know,
right.
You go through a lot of things that, you know, can put you on a different path or, you know.
So yeah, it's been difficult this year. Granted, we're supposed to be doing what we call a hybrid plan, starting in February, where kids get to come 2 days a week to school. So like A through M comes Monday and Tuesday, nobody on Wednesday, and then N through Z comes on Thursday and Friday, and then hopefully start bringing in more and more days and more kids. So it's just gonna be dependent on, like I said, what the powers to be say as far as getting back to normal as possible when it comes to school. You know, it's been hard for me at the track coach. You know, usually I can get kids and be like, you know, hey, you want to run? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I can get to the football players and be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Come on out for track, you know what I'm saying? And get your speed up, whatever. But now it's just like, how the hell how am I doing anything? I there's no way for me to do anything. I mean, I can, but so that's, like I said, those are all the difficult parts of it as far as just dealing with this whole situation.
Yeah, it's been messed up. I know in the beginning, a lot of people were saying like, oh, we need to have the kids in school because it's bad for them. Like, and I was like, I don't know if I agree with that. But then we're lucky enough to live in an area where there's not a whole lot of kids that go to my kid's school. So they've been open since the majority of this year. Mm-hmm. They've taken some like longer like breaks, and like Thanksgiving and Christmas they took some longer breaks than normal, but to see her in school, it's night and day. You know, those kids, they need that interaction. They need to be able to have that social, you know, interaction. Yeah, and face to face. Not they spend enough time on their phones as it is. You know.
Right. So that's pretty much where that's at. But you know, it's cool. Like, I mean, I get to right now I'm coaching our indoor season has started, and we're having fun with that. My team is a lot smaller than it was last year, but I got some great kids on the team, and we're having a blast. You know, track meets are a little different because you know there's no spectators, and so I'm used to like it. I remember our first track meet, it was like you hear a pin, you just heard the ground, pow, and you just heard people's feet scooting. I'm not used to that. I'm used to the crowd like cheering and stuff, and like so that's been the weird part about it. Like you can't hear people screaming for their teammates and parents. You know what I'm saying? It's just like literally just like people running and it's jumping.
Like a practice.
Yeah, it's like practice basically. Yeah, so it's very different. But I'm grateful to Spire being open and Youngstown State willing to host indoor track meets this year.
Kent's not opening.
Kent and Akron and everybody else is like, nah, bro, y'all ain't gonna put that on us. So, but I'm grateful for Spire and Youngstown taking the lead and allowing track to continue because, I mean, granted, it's not the most popular sport, but there are a lot of kids that enjoy it and like doing it, and so to give them a season and give them an opportunity has been fun so far.
And to keep them off the couch.
Yeah, that too.
Well, I know. I think you got to get. It's 1:30 now. You said you need to be out here by 1:45.
Yeah, I mean, I got 15 minutes of y'all time, or you have anything? I mean, you guys want to know anything else, or have any other questions? I mean, I'm an open book when it comes to aspects of my life and what I've been through and what's going on. So, I mean, whatever you guys want to know, I'm game for.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I really appreciate you being on. I'm excited for your book and everything you got coming out.
Yeah, I mean, that's I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is one, having that come out, and then I'm actually trying to get more into speaking, motivational speaking engagements and things like that. So I'm hoping with the book that's going to hope lead to more opportunities like that. I've spoken in like Michigan and Tiffany University and some other places. I've been the keynote speaker for ASICS track clinic and stuff like that. So I'm hoping to create more opportunities like that where I can go and share different aspects of my life and kind of my story and kind of like give it to people in a different perspective to kind of help them. Like I said, my whole goal is that my book will hopefully help people and give people just that extra kick or that extra push and let you know that you're not alone, that it's okay to have these moments of weakness as long as you find your strength in the end, because that's what ultimately I had to do. I mean, we all know that. We know that number 22 always comes up every year when we talk about our soldiers in our Marines and our Air Force and Navy. And that's a real number because most people don't understand that mental aspect when you come back home or from over there, or the trauma that some people deal with in the military, that number is real, and people need to understand that. Don't assume that we all come back and we just strong like what I'm saying. We can just let go of some of the stuff we seen or done, and so I'm big for mental health. I push mental health, especially with my students too. I believe that it's okay to go and find help. Go and talk to somebody. Seek professional help if you need to, because I had to. I definitely had to, and like I said, it wasn't until I did that to where more and more of my happiness began. And like I said, it was hard to do, but I did it, and I made it happen for myself, and I found my purpose in life. As far as I always, like, when I was in the hospital, one of the biggest things I used to question was like, why did God give me all that talent in track to take it away from me? I'm like, why would he do this to me? Why would he put me, I thought I was doing everything right to come back so that I can continue to be the greatest track athlete that I could possibly be. And so I questioned that a lot. And so then I found my purpose, and my purpose was and I told my wife this when I was like, I want to be a teacher. And
I was going to ask you where that came from.
My wife is a teacher. My wife was a teacher. Now she's a curriculum director. Like, my wife got like degrees on top of degrees. Like, she's smarter than me. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, she's when it comes to this education stuff, she is she done been a principal. She done been a instructional coach, and now she's a curriculum director. She just got her superintendent's license. Like, my wife, and she's younger than me too. On top of that, so it just makes it even that much more like, like, how you like, but. She's great at her job, and she's great at what she do, and she's what's the biggest reason why I did it and why I became a teacher. And I thought about a lot of the teachers I had growing up. Like, my track coach is still my friend to this day. He was my coach from 7th grade all the way to 12th grade, Matt Baldwin. That guy was like a second father to me. He had my back for everything. He made me, I'll never forget, I dropped out of all honors classes my sophomore year. My junior year, he was like, and then I got real bad grades my sophomore year too. He made me get back into honors classes and stayed on my ass that whole time my junior and senior year so that I can get a scholarship to go to school. Because he believed in me so much, and this guy pushed me. And so I had teachers like him, and that's where it came from. And seeing my wife used to be a hell of a teacher. She used to have people requesting for her for kids to be in her class. So those things inspired me and helped me become a teacher. And like I said, everything else can go. Like, I can give up the gym, I can give up bodybuilding, but as long as I'm teaching and coaching, I'm happy. Like, and I got like I said, I got my own family and stuff like that. But teaching and coaching is like, I probably spend more time with kids talking about just life stuff versus what I actually teach in class. You know what I'm saying? And these are like, I'll teach I'll do what I have to do as a teacher, but then these kids also want to have an outlet and somebody to talk to. And so that's when, after like, I think I say about my 4th year teaching, I'm 8 years in now since I came back home. That's when I realized, I was like, this is why I'm here. It's like, I wasn't meant to go to the Olympics and get all these accolades and stuff like that. I was meant to be here for kids and help kids find a way. And the crazy thing is, I teach in the same high school I graduated from.
That's awesome.
So now I get to reach back to everybody that's in my neighborhood, grew up in the same places I grew up, and try to see them do great things.
Do you share your story with your students, or you just kind of tell them bits and pieces?
Oh, no, they know everything. Like, ever since I started teaching, that was the way I found out to connect.
Yeah.
And
because they know they don't.
Yeah, they look at me like,
you're a superhero,
right?
You're like Captain America.
Yeah, there are a lot of kids, they think I'm this great superhero and things like that, and they think I'm just like, I'm bigger than life. But when I share my story with them, and they just I always do it on the very first day of school, like
get the elephant out of the room.
Yeah, I get it out the way. So and they just like, their jaws just drop, and they're like, you really lived through all that? Like,
well, I think it's important I think it's really important for having teachers like you. And I think it's not to discount, the people that go to college and become teachers right out of college, and that's just what they do. But for someone to have life experiences and, and the attitude that you have and the message you can deliver to those kids that's going to be, at least in my view, more of an education than anything they'll ever learn in school.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because I got students that have graduated, and I still, they still talk to me. They'll shoot me a message and ask me for advice. So, so like I said, I feel like I have my purpose in doing what I do, and as far as being a teacher, and then, I guess me being all cocky and stuff, they be like, and a lot of kids like, can I lift with you? Can I because I lift at the school sometimes too, and so the football players are always saying, can we lift with you? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do? What do you eat? Like, what is I'm always like, that is one of the biggest things. Like how do you get this? And I'll be like, say, hey, you gotta. I'm like, this is it's like almost like a full-time job. You gotta be dedicated to this lifestyle. I'm like, as far as eating and making sure that you taking care of yourself and things like that. And I was like, and so a lot of kids, like I said, they really, are fascinated by the things that I do, and they look forward to, like, they loved every moment of, they love the TV show. Like, a lot of kids got it screen recorded, and so they like to post it and tag me in it. Here's Mr. Collier drowning on TV. So it's things like that. But once again, those are all things that, like you said, it makes me human, and it doesn't make me seem like I'm yes, I'm a teacher and I'm an adult, but I'm still, at the end of the day, I'm human just like y'all. I make mistakes, and I just, and I enjoy life. I'm not, and like I said, they enjoy that aspect of my life. And I share a lot with them as far as just who I am.
I mean, because you think about it growing up, if you guys think about any teacher you ever had, I won't say any, but the majority of them, they're a mystery to you. Mm-hmm. They're my math teacher. What do they do outside of here? He's in good shape, but what's he do for workout? You know what I mean?
There's no connection there.
Yeah, where he opens up, hey, I was blown up. Hey, I bodybuild. Hey, I do this.
Oh yeah, because they see me eating my meals. Like we'll be in class. Like, hold up,
time for boiled chicken.
I gotta drink 2 gallons today.
I need y'all to answer all these questions right here while I'm eating. I was like, but I'll come around and help you. And then I always get the oh my God, what is that? It stinks. What are you eating? I was like, don't worry about it. I was like,
put your mask on.
Right.
Yeah. If it smells good, it ain't good for you.
Right. So. But that's another thing. Like he was just saying, like I'm not a mystery to them. Like, they know when I'm in prep too. I'll be like, hey, I got a show coming up. So it's kind of funny. Like, I share all of that with them. I'll be like, yeah, I got a show coming up. They're like, where at? They're always, and the crazy thing is, these are high school kids, and they're always excited to hear when I'm competing, when's your next show? They'll ask me themselves, like, you know what I'm saying? What you doing? Like, so they are they are a big part of my life as far as that aspect is concerned. Like I said, I don't sugarcoat nothing for them. I tell them the truth about everything, and I'm always honest with them because I feel like you said, most of our teachers were a mystery, and I feel like if I'm honest with you, you're more likely to like. I learned this from my older teacher. If you can get a child, build a relationship with a child, they'll do anything for you. And that's why and most people are like, how they got an A in your class, but they got an F in my class? Because I talk to them as a person, and I treat them with a different type of respect than what you may treat them with, and I have a relationship with them where they'll do anything for me. So that means they will turn their work in for me, and they will do what they need to do in order to get past my class because we have a different type of relationship. I mean, I think that's what makes me different as far as any teacher. And like I said, you can talk to any of my students. They'll tell you, like, he's just, like, I got kids that they'll rather eat lunch with me in my classroom than they would be in the cafeteria.
Well, it's a good leader. You know, and I think a lot of teachers, at least like you said, Gary, like most of my teachers are like, just dry and stale and do your homework and this, that, whatever. And it's like, man, there's no connection there. You're just like a robot. Mm-hmm. So if without, you know, good leaders don't make people do things, you know, they encourage and do things and guide them to do
lead by example.
And lead by example. You know, I don't know if I've said it before, but at one point I had a job where I was in charge of like 30 guys doing outside hard work. And the first day I showed up on the job, and they'd have a rough history. I told them, I said, look, I'm not here to be your boss. I don't want to be your boss. This is a team, you know, don't make me be your boss.
And that's kind of what you were talking about, Tony, with the trees, with your tree company and how you treat your employees and everything. Like, everybody's just cool and,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously layers where a student, teacher, there's a line
they gotta
there.
know.
Yeah, but
there's definitely like lines they understand. You know what I'm saying? You know where the line is at and how we operate. So, and we established those boundaries. Like I established those boundaries with you know what I'm saying in the beginning of the school year. So, but also in the same breath, like I said, it evolves to the point where, like I said, where we have a different type of relationship where they, you know what I'm saying, they can come to me and because if they may have issues that going on at home that they don't want to talk to anybody else about, so they'll come to me. Or they might have something, you know what I'm saying, like I said, that they feel I can relate to more than somebody else. So like I said, I'm okay with all that stuff. And like I said, I feel that is who I'm supposed to be, what my purpose is supposed to be in life. You know what I'm saying? Why I feel like this is why I have a second shot at life, to be able to do this.
And it's funny because as you talk about this, it's pretty similar to, and that's probably why it's an easy transition for you to coach track. But coaching is very much the same way across the board because you get these, you know, he gets these track kids that maybe they were nothing all through middle school and now they're starting to get good and they got this coach that has these accolades and can probably still beat a good majority of the kids with one leg, essentially. So they respect that and they want to learn, you know, they want to pick up his drive and so on. So even when I'm coaching people, I tell them, for the high majority of them, there's nothing I'm telling you to do that I haven't already done, with the exception of maybe Buckeye, one of my other clients. But, you know, and this is what it takes to get to that top level. And it's a journey. It took me 17, 18 shows to turn pro, but this doesn't happen overnight. For a select few, it does, but the majority, it's a grind. So, you know, when they feel like they can connect with you and tell you anything and you got their back, then that's what, but there's still that respect at the end of the day, then I think that's when you built the best connections, you know, at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's that person-to-person connection and be able to relate. And you got to get out, you got to get rolling.
Yeah, my alarm just went off.
All right. Well, Gary, you sticking around or are you heading out
I'm
too?
going to head out too.
You're going to head out too? Okay. No problem. Well, I appreciate both of you guys coming down. Appreciate the story and keep us posted on all the things you got going on. I definitely will. I think I lost track of all of them. But yeah, stuff goes out, either let Gary know or, you know,
yeah, I definitely. When the book comes out, I'll definitely make sure that Gary knows so that you guys can get it, a copy of it. And like I said, I appreciate you guys having me. And this has been a blast. So, you know, when the book comes out, y'all want to sit down and talk about that, we can too.
Yeah, absolutely, for
See
sure.
how I told you can just sit and talk and it flies. You're like,
Yeah.
really? Time's up already?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Anytime. I appreciate coming on.
No problem.
Thanks. Well,
All right.
hope next
Thank you.
time.
Next time.